Benjamin Kihei. I'm just trying to get the Fireside Chat so that it can stream to YouTube and do all the things, and I got it done. No, it starts in 10 minutes. Oh, and I am actually on screen live right now, so let me just... Yeah. This one? No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you should Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Nice. Let's see who we got today. We got Michael, Marcus, Ryan. Good to have you guys. Good to have you. 15 minutes out. We are live streaming to YouTube at this time. No? So we're up to 10,000 views on today's baseline already. Midday yet. So for those of you who are this is the Phireside Chat or Phiron.
You're not coming through clearly. You're breaking up.
Unfortunately, my Wi-Fi is terrible at the studio. Let me try to turn it on and see what happens. How about now? Is that better? Can you hear me all right?
Sounds good to me.
I can hear you.
All right, cool. Well, welcome to Phiron's Fireside Chat. It is Monday, September 27th, 2021. We are here today to discuss, for posterity's sake, and keep record of the birth of Phiron and the community that helped bring it together. And that's everybody that's here in the community who can join us today on a Monday morning at 11 a.m., as well as myself, Xavier Hawk. And I'm hoping that, hundreds of years in the future, people will have access to this and see how this kind of all started. Today, we're going to go over where Phiron Global Partners is in our launch and where we're going from here, and ask our community if they have any questions, and kind of have a commentary and just a back and forth a little bit, and then we'll close out with a meditation. So just to give you guys an update, we have a number of fronts that we are approaching and kind of dealing with in our developmental pathway. So Phiron Global Partners is the parent company that will birth Phiron, the decentralized banking system, the private cooperative membership credit union, essentially. And in our goals of creating a decentralized, self-governing world and private economy that is clean, healthy, balanced, accountable, and transparent, we also have access to a number of really cool technologies that make the cities of the future and the world of the future interconnected and green, clean, and sustainable, right? Amongst those are building materials, basalt fiber, carbon fiber building material that's a space-age polymer, grow systems and lighting systems for indoor grows. We have sensors that allow us to have true volumetric 3D data or sensing capabilities at the atomic level. What that also does is gives us some of the only 3D virtual twin technology that's out there. This is important for interconnected cities and just the world of the future, right? Amongst those, we also have power poles and wind turbines, maglev wind turbines. So in all of these different verticals, Fireon Global Partners is bringing these things to market. And the big piece of that, the thing that kind of connects it all together, is the Fireon app. And the Fireon app serves as a decentralized private economy and governance tool. With the blockchain, we're able to give people a secure identity along with our sensor technology so that we know they are who they say they are. And that's important because that goes to solving some of the problems in these decentralized consensus governance systems, which is Sybil attacks. So I just had a conversation with a developer this morning in regards to this. If we control the ingress, people who are coming on, KYC them properly, give them all the proper paperwork. If they're part owners of the corporation, they have to have that paperwork anyway. Then we can say with a great degree, combining our biosensing technology, we can say with a great degree of efficacy that they are who they say they are. And it costs a bit to become a part of the membership, but that allows us to also prevent Sybil attacks and somebody creating a bot farm somewhere of all these fake accounts. So we can prevent all of that. And what that does is it creates a clean virtual space where we can say, all right, now let's see what we can do with that. And we can do with that. One of the basic things is create a values-driven, as a friend of mine likes to call it, a prosumer activated, intentional consensus economy. It's a lot of words. What that basically means is that we all come together. We say, these are the values that we want to adhere to, and everybody that we do business with must adhere to these values. We want to keep the earth clean. We want to treat each other with respect, always operate in honesty and truth, and some of the basic foundations of having a good society, right? And then once we do that, then we can create what's essentially a multi-coin wallet. So you can have all the different cryptocurrencies that you enjoy, as well as our custom ones like earth credits and water credits and some of the other things that are being built now. So you have a multi-wallet that is yours to own. So we don't have access to it or any access to its funds. It's within your control and up to you to maintain its security. And then when you want to process transactions, you can get a Fireon card, like a MasterCard, Visa card type of machine, and you can go use it and spend it anywhere you want. We process the transactions, but because we're using a blockchain token mechanism for accounting, we can say, watch you go spend your money at Starbucks or wherever it is that you like to spend it, and say, okay, you spent $4.50 worth of earth credits. So now we know that Fireon, the credit union bank, has to pay that company $4.50 in whatever fiat currency that they're accepting. And for that, we charge a fee, but much less than Visa and MasterCard. And when we take those fees, we put them into a big pool that's kind of like harvesting everybody's economic life force just a little bit. And then we put that into a big pool. And instead of Visa or MasterCard or the Federal Reserve or anybody who creates monetary systems and then benefits from it themselves, they're harvesting your economic life force. We put it into a big pool, and we together as a community decide how we're going to spend that. This way, imagine paying your taxes and getting to choose directly where they go, right? So we're not adding any layers of taxation onto you. You're not having to spend any more than you normally do. In fact, you're spending less. And that little, instead of Visa, MasterCard getting that little % or 2%, we get it. We put it into a pool. Everybody votes. Let's say you have an idea for a taco truck. I've been using this example a lot lately. It's like, hey, I need $50,000. Here's a video explaining why I'm good at it. This is what the truck looks like. Here's our menu list. This is, then we vet you, and then the community gets to vote on whether or not out of that $1 million we made that month in transaction fees, if we give you 50K, and then we build into that loan or to that investment in you, like a smart contract whereby we get 10% of all of your earnings from the business that you start. This way we get to use the principles of permaculture and build our garden, become successful, build the values that we want to in that community, make decisions together, learn what it's like to make decisions with people who might be very different than us in opposing views or whatever it is, but have a fundamental core structure saying, we want to be honest, we want to be transparent, we want to help the planet, we want to watch out for our future generations. And then you get to take those profits and we put them towards what everybody wants to do. So it's like a cooperative. Imagine if the Federal Reserve, if you owned a piece of the Federal Reserve and you got to vote how all of the extra money that they make off of their predatory lending and instruments of debt, how to spend that money or what it goes towards. Like we could literally change the planet overnight if we all cooperated together in a clear and transparent way and did so with a goal in mind, instead of this maniacal civilization that we have that's based on nepotism, greed, and fear. Let's build something that we all want to envision together, and then not even have to change our behaviors very much, except using a new app. And then we can actually affect that and create a geopolitical and geoeconomic force for good, right? So that's Phiron in a nutshell. In terms of where we are, we're pursuing a number of avenues with our various technologies to enable all of this to kind of come to fruition. So we can start building the cities, building the hotels, the hubs, incorporating these new technologies, incorporating the governance and economic system, and kick it off. We've already got 2 clients that have signed their licensing agreements for the Phiron app. So we're going to get cracking on that. I think I mentioned this last week, but we're going to have a couple different coin launches. Right now we have a Reg D for our accredited investors, and then we will have a Reg CF, which we're filing, which will be for our community, all of you and everybody who uses the app. And then we're only going to raise like a little bit there, really mostly just to get coins in y'all's hands in a way that's legal and in accordance with the SEC guidelines and rules. And then we will have a Reg A plus, which will be for the public, accredited and non-accredited, but it's good for you all to be part of the CF when we get that launched. And I look at this month, maybe next, and hopefully the A plus by the end of the year. So that means that the Fire token will become available on the public market by the end of the year, which is our intention, and we're working diligently every day to make that happen. And that's the token. In terms of our phone and the sensors, we have some really cool developments that are happening internationally with people that are wanting to come in and be a part of that. And any one of these verticals kind of kicks the domino down and starts the whole progression of our mission here. In terms of the building materials, I'm demolishing. We've got a Zoom user joining. It doesn't say their name. We're going to go through and do introductions in just a few moments. I have to demolish my house and my farm in NC. And so we're going to be putting in hopefully one of these new units with the basalt walls and the basalt building, and give like a demonstration piece and put some of the technologies that we're building there as places to bring people and do like farm to table dinners, walk them through the property, walk them through all of the systems and see how that they work together in cooperation to build basically an off-grid healthy ecosystem. I think that covers all of the updates on Phiron. I know that there are some new people in here today, and I want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, tell us where they're from, their name, and what their superpower is. And I'll start with the most anonymous one, which is Zoom user. If you could tell us who you are and where you're from and what your superpower is.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tamsin. I'm from South Africa.
Wow, I love the name, Tamsin.
Thank you so much. I found your page on TikTok a while ago, and then I just subscribed, and I'm following you on Telegram because it seems like there's not a lot of people going through what I'm going through in South Africa, or it's not really being put out there.
Well, tell us about it. What's going on?
So I got a change in me recently. It was right after I wanted to commit suicide, and then I woke up the next day and I was completely changed. It started with small things like not being able to eat meat, and then it progressed to totally wanting to cleanse everything in me. And then I saw that in America, this is happening to lots of people as well. So yeah, I just wanted to learn more about it. And what do I do? Because I have this overwhelming urging me to help and to do something. Yeah. That's basically my story. Yes. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. You're not user I am Glon, are you?
No, I'm Tamsin. I don't know why
Okay.
my name's not showing up here. I'm Zoom user. It just says
Yep,
Zoom
yep.
user.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I meant on TikTok. Because I know
Oh, no, no,
South
no.
Africa. Okay.
No, I'm Tamsin on TikTok.
Awesome. So from what you've said, I can tell you have a very deep feeling heart and a compassionate heart. And as somebody else who feels the same way and who has had the same thoughts and the same feelings at times in my life, because without truth, the whole thing is kind of like pointless, right? It's just suffering. And if we can't have hope and truth and the promise of something better, then what the fuck is the point, right? And so,
Exactly.
yeah, so I feel you in a big way. And that's literally what really kicked Fire On off as an idea or as a seed in my heart. Like, how can I do the greatest amount of good while I'm here so that it justifies the suffering, right? And our gift from God is that we are creative and imaginative, and no computer can predict the future when you have a living, breathing entity and an eternal soul, and you can create in the moment with imagination. And so thank you for sharing. That became, you know, the whole purpose for this, right? And having one thing that I can say, I'm doing this thing that I know is in service for the greater good, whether it succeeds or not, I will end up where that vision is, whether it's this life, the next, or, you know, somewhere in God's creation. And so thank you for finding this, for finding us, and for having the courage to share what you did and be here, right? And share your time with us. I'm hoping for your sake and people like us all over the planet that that this takes off in a big way and meaningful way, and that we can actually determine our destiny together. Because nobody's doing that, or I should say, the people who are doing that don't have our interests at heart, right, or our family's interests at heart. Exactly. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being courageous and not actually, you know, offing yourself. I'm sure the world's a much better place because you're in it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Tamsin. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm going to go to another anonymous user. We've got a phone number 216-245-3364. You'd introduce yourself, your name, and what your superpower is. It is muted, Mr. or Mrs. 216-245-3364.
Oh, there, now I'm unmuted. Yeah, it's okay.
There you are. How are you? Yes, can hear you good.
How you doing? We talked earlier on Telegram, Xavier. This is Eric.
Hi, Eric.
I go by higher in there, Eric higher in there, but Eric Calco otherwise. And so like you, I have a strong love for God, and I see I think we see the world very similarly, if not the same. That we all have a temporary time on this planet, and I want to make the biggest impact before I leave. So basically, my whole life is one big exit strategy. You know, what am I going to look back on?
I love that.
Because when I was 27, I was on my deathbed. You know, and that's when I was really, you know, God gave me a choice on my deathbed when I was 27. So I always wanted to die up until then. That's the thing. I was, you know, depressed half my life and wanted to die. And I had just lost everything. I was facing the worst trials of my life. If I got out of that bed, I still had huge trials I never had before. And he said, I'll take you tonight if you want, you know. I laughed immediately. It was my reaction. I like, this is a trick question, God, you know. This is
right.
I said, well, I'll think it through. I know you're not in a hurry. We got all night, you know. So I'll think it through. And basically, I just picture myself up in heaven, and of course, all the good things you imagine when you get up there, you know. But eventually, you're going to look down on the earth, and you're going to see all the people still there, and you're going to realize, you know, you can't help them anymore. There's nothing you can do. You can only watch. You're just a watcher. And I don't want to be that watcher. I didn't want to just look back and say, I didn't do nothing, you know. And that's when I realized I have to face these trials that I've been facing and get out of this bed and change things. And so that's what it's been ever since. Anyway, that's my goal, my mission. I'm prepared for that day when I look down from heaven. I want to know that I did what I could, you know. Wow. So I see this as one big womb we're all in. We're all going to be born soon. We're just not born yet. Technology-wise, you know, you know what I share with you. programmed in 30 languages, about 30 years old. We just programmed since I was a kid. So the information systems are, like, easy for me. And like you said, computers are totally predictable. They'll do whatever you program them to do. People are not. And at the end of the day, the way I look at the world is we're just souls. So it's a world of souls, and that's all that matters. When you leave everything behind. It's only the souls you impacted on Earth that matter. It's the only difference you could possibly make. The buildings won't matter. The schools won't matter. The cars won't matter. The impact on love. So that's my goal. And I'm trying to use whatever God gave me to accomplish that.
That's incredible. So I have to say, I never know what's going to happen when these firesides happen. I'll give you guys the updates, but really the thrill for me is getting to know you all. I mean, we can't build community without actually getting to know each other, right? And just to start off today's call with those two, it's just super inspiring for me. Like, we all have the choice what we want to do with this time. And when we get born, we start forgetting who we really are. And we forget that we're souls, and we become the character that we embody, right? And that everybody tells us we are, in what society or civilization or home life or whatever. And to have the two calls start off with, I am just displeased with this place and what is going on, to such a degree that I would even consider not wanting to be here, gives us a sort of like compass to say, this is how far we are away from our goal, right? And so I died when I was 17, and I experienced what it was like I was the judge, and I saw every moment of my life. And I saw every little thought, every feeling, every unconscious behavior that I had an opportunity to love and I didn't love. And I realized, like, I was like, I don't want to go out like that, And I was given the choice, kind of like you were, where it's like, yeah, you can come, but is that who you were? Is that what you wanted to do here? Is that the painting you wanted to paint? And I saw all of those little tiny things that, in a day we just miss, the way we look at somebody at a grocery store in passing and judge them, or whatever it is. I realized that there was nothing that was hidden. And so, so I was not happy with who I was or what I had done. And so I was like, no, this isn't the way it's going to go out. And so, I came back, and from that moment on, I realized that I could never lie again, right? I could never harbor ill will towards anybody because of how impactful it really, really is. But that we're so locked in these meat suits and we don't see it, doesn't mean it's not happening. And there's so much out there that we don't see happening that our souls live in. And if we're not, it's like we're tricked into the materiality of this world, and money, this, and it doesn't matter how you get it and who you treat, and every little, it's like death by 1,000 cuts, right? All of these millions of little choices that people make into despair lead them further and further to the point where they have no morale, no reason to stand up and say, I am good. No, you cannot force me to take an injection of something that I do not even know what it is. You don't even know what it is. And you're forcing this biomedical bullshit. And I know for a fact that I'm a soul that is eternal. I've experienced it. And so when I look at this world and I say that, I'm saying, here's the hard line. The hard line is, we're going to build something beautiful. We're going to do it together. And if we don't do it with truth, honesty, integrity, and with a creative vision in how we can all work together, then I'm not going to be here, right? And I'm just not going to play with you guys anymore. And that would be a shame, right? So it's like, balls to the wall. Let's go get it. Let's make it happen. And that's been sort of the spirit behind everything that we're doing here. So I hope that you guys can find a place here, and deeply, deeply wish that we can fulfill your wishes for the hope and prosperity of a positive future, right? Again, otherwise, what's the point? So thanks for being here and sharing that. And Eric, I'd love to have a conversation with you about development and see if there's a way that you guys can get involved. So thanks for sharing here, and thanks for sharing your time. Let's go down the list, see if I don't recognize anybody. Richard, you've been here before, right? Richard Belts?
Yes, I have.
That's what I thought. So I think everybody's here. That I don't think that there are any new. If I'm missing anybody and anybody's new that hasn't introduced themselves before, if you wouldn't mind, please chiming in, introducing yourself, where you're from, and what your superpower is. All right, very cool.
Oh, you got to call on Ryan Morgan over there.
Ryan Morgan. All right, Ryan Morgan, you've been called up. You introduce yourself and what your superpower is.
Well, hello.
Well, hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great, brother. You?
I'm all right. Kind of in downtown Louisville right now, trying to figure out how to get to the place I'm supposed to be going. So,
oh, right on. That's
yeah,
a serious beard you got there, brother.
Oh, thank you. I've been
like
working on it for a while.
There you go.
It's awfully white. 30.
I got the same going on.
There you go. I'm only 37, but you know, shows a little wisdom and experience, right?
Yeah. So you're a road dog like Jeremy, huh?
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
I sure
and
am.
You found out about Firon through Jeremy?
Yes, I did. I've been driving a truck for about 14 years. I'm just starting as an owner operator now. Thanks to Jeremy's push, if you will.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
I
good
don't
to
know
take your destiny into your own hands like that. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. I don't know what my superpower is, but I'm sure eventually I'll figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I would say at least one of them is finding where you got to go, carrying a whole lot of load.
Right. Yeah, it's 43,000 pounds of like flaxseed and all kinds of stuff. So,
oh, that's incredible.
Very heavy,
I got a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't realize you were brand new, and I sort of gave an introduction to Firon as part of the, we're live streaming again and recording this to YouTube. Did you have any questions? What did you think about what I had said in terms of our vision and our purpose? I
absolutely enjoy what Jeremy's educated me on with you guys, and I'm really interested in the community that we're trying to build here. And one second, boss. Is this called L-Seed? Is this called L-Seed? It is? Where do I go? Right here. Oh, so I'm gonna get behind you. All right.
All right.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm very interested in this. I can't say that I've been very faithful in the Christian belief. I tried to adopt the pagan belief as far as like and with Jeremy, he's helped me find kind of a way to kind of get back to it. But the community sounds amazing. The currency situation sounds awesome, and being that I'm just now starting a business, I believe in some way it'll help me learn more,
Yeah,
especially in like an investing situation and things like that. So I'm just down to keep learning, you know what I mean? I want to keep learning what you guys have going on, and I can't say that or sorry, I'm all distracted. So
no. Thanks for sharing. I want to let you get back to what you're doing, so you don't, get in an accident or anything. But thank you for being here. And yeah, just keep chiming in when you can and whenever you're available. And we'll do what we can to keep you up to date and figuring out, what your fate is here.
Sweet. Thank you, sir.
That'd be awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for calling up, Jeremy.
Not a problem. Oh, yeah, Jeremy.
So we got an X that showed up. X, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us your name and where you're from and what your superpower is? X. You know, I gotta pick on you because you got an X in your name, right? So yeah, say hello. You can unmute and tell us what your name is and where you're from and what your superpower is. Hello, hello. You are unmuted, but I cannot hear you.
Hello.
There you are.
Hey. I don't know. I just saw something on Telegram and I pressed a button and I said, "Oh, let's have a look at that." And now I'm here being picked on.
Perfect. So just to keep you up to date, you are in the Fireside Chat for Phiron. That's Phireon, and we are building a decentralized, member-owned credit union. But it has the holy grail of the blockchain space, which is governance. So essentially, what it is a private membership buying club where we only allow good companies in who are doing good by the earth and the future generations and each other, and essentially giving you an opportunity to use a digital online bank. And when we process your transactions with your Visa card or MasterCard that has a crypto wallet built in, then we keep a percentage of that transactions. We put it into a big pool and everybody gets to vote on how that's spent. Imagine if you could choose where your taxes went. Imagine if you were part owner of the Federal Reserve or any of the central banks that issued currency and got to determine what we use the surplus for. So that's the basic premise. And with the technology that we have available today, we can literally start building the new earth in a new clean way where we're accountable and fully transparent. So that is the puddle that you just jumped into, my man. Is your name Xavier?
No, if you can't say your name, what did you used to do when you couldn't write your name on a contract?
Gotcha. So yeah. We'll just call you the X-Man. So where are you from?
The UK, right in the Midlands there.
Oh, very cool. And
I'm just kind of being curious, which has got me in this whole Alice in Wonderland kind of type scenario right now. I've kind of followed you guys in from a loose goose, and I've found my way now at this avenue. So that's
right on. Yeah, very
so I'm just
cool.
kind of exploring the whole thing between you and Spurco and Bush. A lot of interesting things, and just exposing myself to a few of those things, see what it is, and how it all kind of meshes together. It's quite an interesting concept and stuff.
Well, it's all based on self-reliance, right? Being able to find our way and make our own destinies in the world, being able to work in partnership with others, be accountable to ourselves and to others, and to rethink how society is structured and why it feels like a farm where we get to live within certain parameters, but all sorts of sciences and physics are not shared honestly and truthfully. All sorts of archaeological history and our own true history is not shared fully. And what does that mean? And why, right? Why can't we know what our true origins are? Why can't we know what exists out in space? Why is it that we haven't had thorium reactors take hold and become popularized and commercialized? Why aren't 0-point energy systems being utilized? At least green fucking energy systems. Why has our civilization advanced so rapidly in the form of synthetics and technology, but we're still driving around cars like it's the 1970s? These incongruities in our civilization are there, and it's my personal assertion that when you get on top of the hill in King of the Hill game, you don't want anybody to get up on top of the hill, but there's a fundamental flaw there, and that is that everybody wants to take your crown. Nobody's interested in that, or nobody of any significance is really interested in that. What the majority of people on the earth want is to be able to cooperate, take care of their families, and have a future to look forward to. And I fundamentally believe that. And I think that that old way of thinking, of fear-based mentality of there's only so many resources, everybody's going to try to take it, doesn't hold up to the awakening that people have undergone so far and have yet to still. Our technology has far outpaced our wisdom. And I think Phiron is an attempt at saying, look, we can all work together. We can all work transparently with truth as our foundation, and we can build a much more opulent and reasonable, balanced civilization than what we have now, where, you know, the insurmountable greed of somebody like a Bezos who owns, I mean, he could give everybody on the planet $1 billion each and still have $100 billion, right? The mismanagement of our resources, the mismanagement of our intellectual resources and just our physical resources has led to a terrible, terrible imbalance that allows corruption to seep in and greed to become the foundations of our civilization instead of love, honesty, and integrity. And this, you've just walked into, like I said, a puddle of of an attempt at beauty, honesty, and integrity at a global level by rethinking what the monetary system is, who controls it and why, rethinking what governance looks like and how to make that transparent and make it available to everybody and accessible to everybody who has a smartphone, and fucking utilizing the technologies for what they were meant to, which is to make everybody's lives better and less full of misery. So that's what you just joined, my man.
Cool. Well, I'm going to just lurk a little longer and get a feel for things, and maybe see you a little further down the line.
Sounds good. Thanks for being here and sharing your time with us. Going through the list, I know some other folks just joined, but they all look like folks that. Hey, Angelina and Jeff, do you guys have a question? You want to say something? Ask a question?
Hey, can you hear me?
Of course. Welcome.
Oh.
Welcome back.
All right. Well, seeing as we've got a couple of truckers on the line, I guess, we'd heard that truckers were going on strike because they were trying to force a vaccine mandate on everybody. So
you're in the U.S. or in the U.S. or in Australia?
Yeah, in the U.S. In the U.S. That was at least what I understood it as.
Jeremy, Ryan, you guys got anything to say to that in the trucking industry, or have you heard that?
I haven't heard anything industry-wide, any of the industry materials, any of the OIDA or groups. The only thing I've seen that on is TikTok. And when they did it last time and set a date, I didn't see anybody stop their trucks. I didn't see a single blocked highway. But I mean, I'm not encompassing the entire U.S. at any given time, you know? So, but I didn't see anything come of it. And I haven't seen anyone do anything in an organized manner. No.
Cool. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. You know, we don't have any friends that are truckers really. So you never know what you hear, and it's hard to validate things yourself. So thanks for the input.
Awesome. So I just was informed that my math was bad. I said, let me look at the chat again. Bad math. If he has 250 billion, he could only give 250 billion one people. I think I meant a million. I think you're right. He could give everybody on the planet $1 million and still have a couple 100 billion left over. Seeing as there's 7 billion people. Yeah, that's right. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I saw it somewhere and I thought like, oh, that's pretty significant. Either way, there's a large collection of resources and financial resources in a very few hands. And it doesn't really need to be that way. Because I can attest to the fact that just because you have lots of money doesn't make you any smarter than anybody else. I've talked to a lot of investors and people with money. Anybody have any questions for me or comments in general? Questions about Firon or comments in general about Firon?
Can I point something out while we're talking about it? So
yeah.
On that topic, like trucking industry and whatnot. So TikTok, we all know there's a lot of people just try to get views. You know, there's stuff on there about shortages are being artificial because all the container ships are at sea. And I have seen aerials of the container ships actually at sea, just stacked out there, just can't. But at the same time, that's what I'm pulling right now is containers. And we have more than we can pull all day long, every single day. They've made it off the ships. They've made it on the rails. They've made it to the rail yards. They've then been transloaded onto chassis, and there's more than we can pull. So you got to take it with a grain of salt what you see on TikTok, first and foremost. As far as the idea of truck drivers striking, I personally do not see that as a good idea. All you're going to do is hurt us citizens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only person that's going to get injured by that strike. It's the store shelves go empty. There's panic in the streets.
Yep.
I do not think that's the avenue for us to take.
Well, they tried that in Australia, and I just saw pictures in Melbourne of like 5 long block lines at food banks of people trying to just get food and resources. Like they've been in like serious lockdown over there. And yeah, we see them in the streets fighting and declaring their own rights, but does it change anything? No. In fact, if you look at what happened in Hong Kong, all those people have disappeared. The people who stood up in Hong Kong and said no and started getting really creative and creating shields and doing all this stuff, they're gone. 2 million users in China have just disappeared off the phone registers. I would be willing to bet that a majority of them came from Hong Kong. Because if they can disappear Jack Ma, the creator of Alibaba, right, then you're talking about a country and a state of affairs where, just getting out in the street and protesting is literally not going to do anything because they have the guns, you do not. So if we're talking about, effective methods in stopping what is happening, I don't think that there is. I think the best way to do it is to build something that is an alternative, to build a pathway forward that is positive, that is not in resistance to anything, because then we're just validating their power and their systems. And I do not, right? So there's no sense in fighting and resisting. I don't know what the correct answer is for individuals out there in how they can show their non-compliance. But for me, it's let's build something better. Something that makes more sense, and then tell everybody about it when it's time. I agree. Like like all of the grocery stores, Home Depot, all of these other places, like they're literally missing things. Like it used to be that everything was full and there was no shortages, but we're witnessing shortages here, just not enough to get everybody scared. The toilet paper thing happened and everybody got scared. But there's a general level of confusion and concern, I would say, for at least the people who are paying attention. The rest who don't pay attention, well, that's it. I just saw clips from Italy that were said to be from today. Couldn't confirm it yet, though. Truck strikes will definitely hurt everyone and create even worse chaos. Indeed. Thanks for that, Jeremy. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Questions about Firon, about the raise, about the coin, anything? If not, we'll go into.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
I've got to ask, and Jeremy instructed me to look it up, but what is the Schumann resonance?
Yes. So everything vibrates. All atoms vibrate and have a frequency. The Earth collectively has a vibrational frequency. It's like 7.84 hertz. So it's essentially the pulse of the Earth, like that. I don't know if that's the correct frequency or amplitude, but it does pulse. And so the reason I report on it every day is because I'm doing this to a global audience. It's sort of like the weather segment, but for a planet, right? So the two things that we can measure weather-wise for the planet are the sun's emissions and the response or reaction of the Earth itself at its fundamental vibrational frequency. Now, what's been happening for the past 10 years is that it'll have spikes. It'll go woo, and then it'll go woo, like it'll shake, and then it'll calm down. And now, as creatures on the surface of the planet, if the planet underneath us is shaking and we don't notice it like an earthquake, it's still being registered in our bodies in some way, shape, or form. So it creates like a mini earthquake that everybody's feeling, but it's so subtle that it might not be like you don't see things falling off the shelves, but you feel it and your body registers it. And there's been a correlation between an uptick in the vibrational frequency of the Earth and anecdotally people waking up at that exact moment at night, like with shakes or tremors or fear or whatever, or nightmares, or just waking up energetic, whatever it is. Some people respond to it different. And same thing with the sun's emissions, right? There are days when the sun is pounding us with solar radiation, and for instance, when there's a lack of solar radiation, when the sun's not emitting high energy particles as rapidly as it normally does, you can actually have people with increased heart attacks or defibrillation, or defibrillation, like if they have pacemakers and stuff, it can interfere. Background cosmic radiation then comes into the earth. So there are all these huge systems that we are part of that we tend not to pay attention to because we can't see a tornado or something, but they still do affect us. And so I report on those two things every day, weekdays, because I've noticed a correlation between high energetic sun output and then a day later or 2 days later, how the earth responds. I've also noticed myself waking up when the earth goes through its crazy Schumann resonance spikes. Like I've seen correlative experiences where I'm waking up at those same times. So I report it to everybody just in case, they want to see if there's any correlation in their lives as well.
Well, I appreciate the response.
Mm-hmm. So Marcus asks in the chat, how many people are on the app now? We have almost 3,000. I think it's like 2,700 and something. So it's grown tremendously, and I'm starting to see more posts in the feed beyond just I worked out today or whatever. And somebody actually, I think it's Jeremy, brought up, like, can we not see those posts? And I'm in full agreement. I'm working on getting that be the case, where we can transition from I've done these affirmation posts to actually sharing content. Oh, and that brings me to the point. William broke his leg, and he was supposed to be scheduling, and he was just starting university again for his master's. And we're supposed to be getting everybody together to all of the volunteers to start having community management positions in the app. We're still following through with that. It's just taken a little bit longer because of William's break and new addition to university. So stay tuned for posts on the volunteer chat for all of that. All right, does anybody have any last comments or questions? Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up and go into our meditation or prayer.
I got 3. So I know you've got a training section in the app, and it's not utilized yet. And I don't know what it takes to get that utilized, but it occurred to me watching some of the old videos, the pledge would be a great place to start, I think. If that could just be posted in there rather than me trying to transcribe it from video.
Oh, hell yes. Yes, you're right. Yes, that's a great point. I'll do that.
On a second note, I'm really curious about the power poles.
So the power poles, we have.
Are they in production?
They have been, yes. They've been on and off in spits and spurts when needed. Right now, we have a licensing agreement coming in from one of the native tribes for a bunch of them. And I've spoken with a country in the Caribbean, and they want a whole bunch of them as well. So we're putting all those deals together so that we can get those in production. And then what we could do, what would be really fucking cool, now that I think about it, is when we have an order for them, right? And we have a minimum order quantity that we fulfill, we go around here in our neighborhoods, in our communities, all of the Fire On folks, see how many people want, and then make up a bunch extra and add it onto the order, right? They're expensive, but you can lease them for a really inexpensive amount a month. So that might actually make some sense. So when we get our first big order in, we'll tack on a couple extra hundred for everybody that's in the community if they want to get them.
Yeah, because I'm going to be looking for a power solution on the new land I intend to acquire. And that occurred to me. And I was like, oh, rather than looking at solar and whatnot, what about these power poles? I've looked in like all the Fire On Global partners. I've looked at your hexayurts. I've seen them mention the pole, but I couldn't find any other schematics, information, order, price, anything. So availability, I didn't even know if they're in production.
Yeah, that's for a reason. In fact, I have a whole section of the Fire On Global Partners website built out with all of these technologies. But until it's It's confusing to simple minds with lots of money. How can you do so many things at once? And I say, maybe you're very lucky and have been able to pull off one thing in your life that led you to this, but it's basically just to keep it simple for folks. If we say we do all of these other things, they get confused and immediately be like, oh, for some reason, I just can't imagine anybody doing more than one thing in this life. So I just keep it off there, but soon enough, it'll all go back on. And then you'll have more schematics and stuff like that. But we're very close to a couple big deals. So it'll probably be sooner than later. And then in terms of your question, what are the power poles? Mjolnir's asking. They are 1.5 kilowatt power generation light poles, essentially, that have a vertical axis maglev wind turbine on top, and they produce 1.5 kilowatt hours of power. If we were to outfit a city with them and provide lighting, it would produce enough power to light the city and plus. And why they are not deployed everywhere is beyond me. It's because of greed. It is because of, greed, essentially. So yeah, I'll get a post up there in the training for the pledge. That's a great idea. And just so to answer your question, the training section will eventually be when people can start joining and actually be member owners, then they'll get training on, like, this is how votes go through, kind of like, how you're supposed to have home economics and political science teach you how, ideas become laws, that kind of thing. That'll be a section for that. All right. Last chance for questions and or comments.
I have one more comment. And again, I don't want this to sound cheesy, but the young lady that was from South Africa, I want you to know that you're not alone in that struggle, as well as Mr. Hawk said. I've actually attempted suicide 7 times.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the first time I actually stuck a gun in my mouth and pulled the trigger, and it only dimpled the primer and did not fire.
Wow.
So I had the balls to do it once, but not twice. The other years of me doing that, I was a very hardcore cocaine and crack addict for I want to say 14 years solid. And I felt like there was no other way to get that to go away except to kill myself. So 140 miles an hour on the motorcycle I had at the time, cruising through town, waiting for someone to pull out, and I was going to smash into their car. Granted, that would have been bad for them and myself, but that was intentional. So yeah, you're not alone. It's a struggle every day still, but not as bad when I have someone like Jeremy or yourself or any of that. So you should always reach out when you need someone. So and that's what I've started doing, and it helps a lot. So thank you for being here.
You too. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
May I say something?
Yeah.
In this moment, I've became aware of Xavier back in February, March, and he showed a light to me that I hadn't seen before. And today I return in this moment, and collectively, where 2 or more are gathered, there he will be. So the spirit of our Creator is here today, because I also have retreated back into the darkness of ego, the comfortable place that I grew up in, not having the courage to kill myself, but on a daily basis, doing everything to sabotage my pure soul. And like today, I returned because I've lost that light. I've retreated back into that darkness. And what Xavier mentioned earlier about truth, that's really what my superpower is, always trying to find truth. And the only truth that really is our Creator. and we don't sit in judgment of another. We don't trespass on anybody else's or any being in that sense. I really believe there's a restoration of consciousness of the children that will return to the land. The truth has brought me on a journey this last year, this awakening. And last week, the Schumann got me good. I had a moment where I fell into that darkness wholeheartedly, just crying and just knowing it's a moment instead of thinking that it defines everything that I am. Because what I realized in this last 6 months is that everything that I thought was myself and my identity has been a lie. So we are all in discovery of ourselves at this moment. So just understanding that this meeting today happened for a reason, and it's not anything that I controlled. I just showed up, and what I needed to hear was here today. So we could just, without judgment, just know that we all needed to hear and be here in this moment. And really much love to everybody here. And with that, I'll be quiet.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's so much suffering in the world. It is a broken world that we just know we don't fit in. You're doing a good thing, Xavier.
Hey, thanks. It's not me, it's God, and it's all of us together, right? So, yeah, this was pretty powerful. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I didn't expect to go this deep today, but I'm very honored that you felt open and comfortable enough to share those things. And welcome to everybody who's new here. And I think maybe we close today with a prayer. Unless anybody has any last comments or questions or anything they want to share.
I didn't, but now I do. Hello.
Hi, how are you, Chloe?
I'm good. I've kind of come through a similar time period to a lot of people on the call today. But in the last week, things have kind of started coming together, and it was all from a tweet, really, which just seems really weird, but it was kind of retweeted, and it was like, the info war is over. Mm-hmm. And now is this kind of spirit war, but in a way that art and creativity is the thing that is going to shift people's consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that has just been consistently reaffirmed to me this week. I've been doing this amazing mentorship where we've had like incredible leaders in their field speaking to us. And I just watched a call before I jumped on this chat as well. And it was talking about, sorry, I feel a little overwhelmed. Because I worry a lot about how this is going to end, right? And like we kept being told like what it's going to look like. And a lot of us, we're all kind of getting pulled into this fear narrative as well. But there was like a proclamation in this call, and it was that we've already won, and we've won by allowing God to live through us in this moment. That's what's deciding it. And to stop focusing on what that looks like down the line and have humility with it and just hold it in your heart in the present moment. And that's what's going to lead, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that looks like for me as my kind of personal mission here, but I'm just going step by step and trying to bring all of that love into the moment that I exist in right now. And if anyone,
I think that's amazing. That's the way this call has made me feel like that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I think as well, it's like I kind of had this thing of like listening to everyone. It was like if anyone, because sometimes you need permission from other people, you know, like maybe you don't feel like you're worth it, or there's something that has to come in between you and that. And I think from everyone, they've kind of declared it in their own way on this call that, like, let's just give each other permission to do that and to be in that now. And I think that this prayer is going to be a really beautiful moment to affirm that for everyone.
Yeah. Well, then let's do it.
Let's do it.
Creator of the universe, thank you. Thank you for our lives. Thank you for our families and the people who hold us up and care for us and show us your love in those little moments when we need it the most. Thank you for the sky and for the air and the clouds and the storms and earth itself that we may experience life. And thank you for all of the opportunities for us to grow and to be with one another and to seek you and to do so in a good way and to do it in a way that makes sense for demonstrating your love in action. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be your love in action. Have pity on us. Have pity on all of our ignorances and mistakes and the things that make us in despair. And thank you for each one of these people here. And I don't want to see anybody suffering, and I don't want all of this to end up for no good reason whatsoever. And I really really need you to I really need everybody to have a reason to hope. Right? And I really need you on behalf of all these people and their kids and families. I really need you to show up, everybody. I don't want to see this suffering anymore. I don't want to feel it. If I did anything to make it, please forgive me. I just want things to make sense and be beautiful. And let each of these people to feel you in them and feel you moving in their lives so that they can be creative and joyful and share the gifts that they have in their hearts with one another. And whatever it takes, I'll be there to give whatever it takes. And please forgive everybody for any of the hardships or mistakes that we've made. Any of the mistakes that I've made. And I don't know why things are the way that they are, and I know you've got some kind of reason for it. I'm sure hoping you do. If you could help see this happen so that we can provide some kind of example, some kind of path forward, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to hear their stories and hear their suffering and hear their sadnesses and hear their hopes and hear their joys. And I'm hoping that I can be some kind of conduit for something good to happen. In Christ's name, amen.
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 Sorry.
I too will do whatever it takes. And don't forget, we're all here for each other. That also means we're here for you, Xavier.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't expect today to go this way. Oh goodness. Well, thank you guys for sharing your time. I feel like you guys have shared way more than your time and shared your souls. So thank you so much for doing that and feeling comfortable to do that. It really makes things miraculous. So may you have a beautiful week. And if you guys, anybody needs, if any of you guys are in a really bad place, just like reach out to me.
I have one more thing to add. It's something that resonates with me very strongly, and it is a Bible verse. It's Ephesians 4:29. It says, "Do not let any corrupt speech come from your mouth, but when you do speak, speak to edify others and to glorify God." So, to me, that says that as a family, we should always try to teach and learn and gather strength and gather knowledge from each other. So I have to be honest, I really believe that what you're doing and what we're all doing together is that edification. You know, I believe that we're all going to learn, and we're going to learn the glory of God, and we're going to learn the glory of each other. So I believe I have found a home.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so until next week, we'll catch you on Baseline tomorrow and anytime in the chat. And if anybody needs to, you can find me on DMs on Telegram. And I love you guys a lot. Thank you for being here and being a part of this vision.
Thank
Love
you,
too,
everybody.
brother.
All right. Be well.
Stand
Thank
up.
you.
Love you all.
Take care, Xavier.